Recently, Jazza, the artist creator Jazza, did a video in which he kind of tries to. He shows how he changed his mind about AI art and AI in general in the last 3 years, and he does like a refute himself 3 years ago because 3 years ago he was pro AI, and he did a video like saying that now he's anti-AI and kinda throwing shade to Sadiversity, to his brother. And if you don't know who Sadiversity is, it's this guy who did videos about swords and things like that. But he recently became kind of infamous because he started to do a lot of pro AI content, and it's the kind of artist who's not good at drawing, and it's obvious that he switched to AI because he couldn't draw. And maybe you have seen him in that he has an infamous tweet in which he made a AI version of Mononoke, and he said that the AI does a better job than the actual real Mononoke movie. So because Jazza did that, I kind of thought about doing myself one, because 3 years ago I also did not a video but kind of an article speaking about it, and I wasn't pro AI at any point. I wasn't anti AI either. It was kind of like this is like a nuanced thing, that it has good and bad things. I'm not going to repeat absolutely everything because maybe I will try to link the article in the description, but it's kind of a long article, so I'm going to summarize the things and see if I have changed my mind something, because there are some things that I have changed. In general, like I have become like much more anti-AI, but not specifically anti-AI art. It's more like anti-AI in general, so to speak. So feels kind of like my point of view back then wasn't like AI is bad. Like I'm much more nuanced and like calm, so to speak, than the other artists. Like many artists see like absolutely everything that you do with AI is like evil, and my point of view is more that like I'm not against people using it to like play, so to speak, to do stuff like memes, or I have this idea and I'm going to do it in a flash or something. I have myself used the AI sometimes to like check. For example, I use a drawing of mine and delete, how this drawing will look if I made, if like Toriyama has made the drawing, and it shows you like, your Sukeban or your Monster Girls in like Toriyama style. So those kinds of things, like I have no issue with that. My issues were usually more, how to say, more on the line of when you put money on it, so to speak. Like if what pisses me off about the AI is that people will not just play, will use the AI for things that they will need an artist, and they will need to pay an artist, and obviously that's bad for artists because we lose money. But it's more than that. It's because a real piece that needs to be seriously done needs artistic direction, so to speak. So if like you can do something that I don't have an issue. For example, you ask the AI to do something that if you weren't going to do it with the AI, you would have never hired an artist to do it. Like some just thought that you have a meme or something like that. But if you want, like, I'm going to ask for a drawing to have as like a poster or something, or especially if it's like for a, a media product, like for example if you're doing a video game or you're doing like a book, like people now say, oh, I don't have to pay an artist for the cover, I will just ask the AI. Or I will, you see a lot of Kickstarters that or crowdfunding campaigns that are kind of use AI a lot, and people justify it with, oh, they don't have money to hire an artist. And I'm like, okay, but a crowdfunding campaign is literally for that. Like, you make a calculation of how much money you will need to pay artists to do it, and then you put that into the goal for the crowdfunding. And if you raise the money, then you do it, basically. But what people do is like, nah, I'm going to just save all of that money and just ask the AI. And the problem is that setting all of the morals aside is that you basically don't have any kind of artistic direction doing that. Like, if you are doing, let's say, like you are doing a TTRPG, and you have a setting that you have for that TTRPG, like you need an artist that is basically reading the content of your work and saying, okay, so in this world, the aesthetics of this world will be this. Like in this country, people wear this kind of armor. In this, like the environment is this. So these are the kind of backgrounds that you will have, and the lighting that you will have. And the AI doesn't have any of that. You look at crowdfundings that are done with AI, and it's just like stereotypical fantasy, and every drawing is different from the other, and you have paladins from the same order with different armors because the AI is not doing the same armor every time that you ask for a guy in an armor. So those kind of things, like, you're going to have a very shitty artistic direction. And my question usually is, if you didn't care enough to have an artistic direction, why will I have to care about your work? Like, I'm not going to care about your product more than you care about your product, if you get what I mean. So those are the kind of things that piss me off when you have people using the AI to kind of bypass things that will need an artist for them. And when it comes to artists themselves, so to speak, like I have never been against using the AI if there is something that serves artists to do an artistic work by themselves, so to speak. Like, if you use the AI for something that streamlines a process, or helps you in doing a process of you doing the drawings, then I think that's fine. Like, for example, there are people, the pro AI faction uses very fallacious arguments like, oh, it's exactly the same as Photoshop or something, because in Photoshop you can use brushes or filters. And it's like, okay, but this is usually done to streamline things that are kind of not that much artistic. Like, for example, let's say that I have, let's say that I'm gonna do like a sky, a night sky. So if I have to do it in the traditional way, I will have to be like, okay, I'm gonna do a star and another star and another star, and I will have to do each star in a way that this looks like a star, or with different tools maybe. Or I can instead go here, for example, and have this brush that is like, oh, star, 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 star. So you kinda streamline a process that is more tiresome than artistic, so to speak. Like, instead of having to draw every single star, is like, okay, I have this tool that is a star, and now I can worry about where I put the stars, applying my knowledge about composition, etc., etc. or maybe there are people who say at the beginning to use it for backgrounds and things like that, but I think that has issues, in part because of what I have mentioned, that I mean, you're not doing the job and you need artistic direction. But it's true that, for example, in manga, many times they use pre-generated backgrounds that they pick from like magazines that are to that. So technically, you could use, like, if you have a scene in which you say, "Oh, I have a background that is not really relevant. It's not like a super specific background." Because if you need a specific background, you can do that. You can ask the AI to do that, because you need the same background repeat in different angles, and obviously the AI is not going to do that. And especially if it's a background that needs specific things for your story. But if, for example, is like a manga panel in which the background is really not relevant, and professional artists maybe will use one of those pre-generated images, you maybe could say, okay, I can use the AI for this, but I think you will have to be careful with that because they are fuck ups a lot. And I think that even when you use that, there is like the problem is mostly that you do or don't do anything. So if I do, for example, I use sometimes, I have like 3D assets, I think it's called, so I can pick up like a track. If I have to draw a track somewhere, and basically here, but that I wouldn't just pick up the track and put it in a scene and it's like, that's it, that's the track. So I will either like put the track and then be like, oh, okay, so a track has like this form, more or less, to place the car in the whatever background that you are using. Say, oh, this is more generally where the car is, and then you draw the rest of the car. And if it's something that you don't really care at all, you could convert these to lines, but even so, I will still modify the drawing. Like you will add, it will then be like just this car. Will modify the car with shadows that are depending on where the light is coming from in the scene. Like maybe the light comes from here, I will do different shadows, and the line maybe will be thicker depending on where the lightning comes. All of those things. Like I will like, it's not just, oh, I ask the AI to do the entire background in 2 seconds and forget about it, which is kind of what I think that pisses many people off. And the thing is that I wouldn't be against using the AI in certain ways, and I will talk later about certain things that I have talked with other artists about how I think now that things that I didn't consider back then, that I think that could use AI could be used now for an artist in a legitimate way. But the issue is that people are not doing that, essentially. So like, non-artists are simply using the AI to do slop, and artists, the few artists that I know who do use the AI, like they are the exact same person. It's always the exact same person. Is someone who is very bad at drawing, and I know that it is kind of a taboo, so to speak, between artists to say, oh, this other artist is bad, because we have all been bad, and it's not like I am like the supreme artist or something. I kind of average. But the thing is that I think at some point it has to be acknowledged, because it's relevant, that basically everyone who is like, oh, I use AI in my drawings, draws like fucking shit. Like Sadiversity like draws like fucking shit, and everyone I have seen who says, I use AI to enhance, they always use the phrase, I use the AI to enhance my drawings. And if you look at what they mean, because some of them show like their process, so to speak, what they do is they just do like a sketch, very basic sketch, like not even like this, like they do something very simple, and then they ask the do the drawing basically. Yeah, it's like if I do this or a little more complete, so the AI knows like where the arms here are and things like that. Like I do it. I'm not sure how much information they will need to do because I have not tried to do this. But let's say that something like this, and I tell the AI, so now do the drawing, and then the AI does like the characters like this, and that's what they mean. Like they don't mean that they use the AI in some way that helps them to the work that they are doing. It's just I do like a very basic sketch and the AI does all of the work. That's what they mean, essentially. And I think that's basically people who are frauds. That's pure frauds. But I'm not like against AI use. Like not like there are many artists that are like you never should use AI for absolutely anything. If someone uses AI, they are immediately they have to be boycott or something. And I'm more like if you are using the AI for your stuff that is like memes or something, I don't care. I have issues when money or proper artistic direction should be used. And if you are an artist and you have like a legitimate way in which you are like, I'm using the AI, but I am doing the work, then that's fine too. I just think that that's not a thing that is happening. But I have had, so in things that in this regard, that I have changed my mind a little, is that I have had this conversation with artists in real life mostly, is that you can, well, I had discussion in Twitter also the other day, that you can use the AI in like, basically another reason I'm doing these videos, but because I had the idea from recently the Larian controversy, that Larian Studios said that they are using they use AI for the concept art process to get ideas, and people threw themselves at them like, yeah, you're bad for doing this. And but I'm like okay with that. Like, I mean, they are not like telling the AI to do the work or something. What they are doing is like when you are doing a process of character design, character creation, what you do is you look for reference, you look for ideas, you look for images in real life, and you also look for what other people has done, so you can get like an idea of what is out there, and maybe you see something interesting and then you do your own version and things like that. So I don't see that difference to like tell the AI, show me 50 images, like you want to do a dragon, for example, and you are like, Google dragons, for example. You usually do that, like Google dragons. And then you have like a page of dragons, and you are like, why, this is a cool idea, maybe I can do something like this, something like that. So the AI basically is going to do exactly that. In fact, I was talking to someone the other day that because the AI basically steals, well, the conversation about if he's stealing or not is like still open for debate, I guess, but I'm gonna use the word steal because it's what everyone uses. Like it steals from other artists. Like literally what it's going to do if you ask for a dragon is like a Google for art, so to speak. Like it's going to show you like 50 images of dragons that someone has done. So it's kinda like doing a Google search, so to speak. So I don't think there is an issue with that. Like if you look for ideas, like I'm not saying copy paste this dragon or something like that, and obviously it's going to have a lot of issues because AI has a lot of issues. But if you are a real artist and you recognize those issues and you use those drawings as a like get ideas, I think that's fine, because it's like, yeah, I mean, I see it as like doing a Google search, like a streamlined Google search. Instead of looking for dragons and Google will show you whatever wants you to show you because Google is Google, it will be like, okay, 50 drawings of dragons. And then you get like a lot of different concepts and ideas. And I know, I think that's fine. And also, I have the conversation that some people are using it for reference, and I mean reference for like compositions and body and things like that. And I think that's fine, but I think that you have to be very careful with that because, like, obviously the AI is going to fuck up a lot, and not only because it's AI and AI is going to fuck up, but because even if the AI does it like perfectly, like imagine that it copies perfectly like artists from the internet, artists fuck up a lot. Like the reason why AI have a lot of issues with fingers is because a lot of artists have issues with fingers, with the hands. But it's not just that. That is like the obvious thing. Like anyone can look at the hands and say, oh, this drawing has issues with the hands, so maybe it's AI. But if you say, okay, I have to think about a composition of, let's go with the dragon again, like a dragon firing fire to a D&D party. And you ask the AI for, okay, compositions of dragons firing fire to party. Like, it's going to show you very weird things, obviously, that you need to have knowledge as an artist to understand that they are wrong. But not just because it's AI and it's going to fuck up, it's because even if it like shows you like 20 images that are perfect in that they copy an artist perfectly, you have to understand that maybe half of those artists really have no fucking idea what they were doing with the composition. And that's very common. And even in high level, I know a lot of artists, even in real life, who are very, very good at drawing. Like they can do a very realistic drawing with a lot of details. But then they have absolutely no fucking idea about composition, especially when it comes to comic composition, because a lot of artists think that is exactly the same thing, and then when they go to do a comic, they fuck it up incredibly. So you're gonna have like maybe the AI is gonna show you like a hyper realistic drawing that looks very cool, and you say, oh, this composition, let's do something like this, and it's like, okay, but the composition is wrong. or like especially if you're gonna use it for like a reference for poses that are complicated, for example. I checked that when it was the whole Larian thing, and I had this conversation, I checked a little, and for example, you can ask the AI for, there is this pose that I'm not accustomed to draw, that I have never drawn, so let's ask the AI to do it, and maybe it will show you a drawing that is like, oh, that's how it looks. Although you can technically do that with the 3D model in Clip Studio Paint, but not always work because the camera angles are a little weird to control, especially when you are working perspectives. But let's say that you ask it for like a pose that you are not accustomed. Like, I think that's okay, but again, you have to be careful because you are going to, especially if you are using it because you have never drawn that, maybe you don't realize that the pose that they are showing you is wrong. But I guess it's okay. Like those kind of uses, like the streamlining the process of looking for I understand all of these things as looking for reference, basically. And then you do the drawing yourself, using your own skill. So for those things, I kinda see like, okay, I have no issue with those things, like using it for streamlining something, using it for like looking for reference, looking for ideas, like all of that stuff. I think that's okay. And that's something that when I talked about it 3 years ago, I didn't really consider any of that. But again, I know very few people who, like, I know a few people who use the AI that way, at least in real life. But it's like most people is just I tell the AI to do the drawing, and that's it. That's essentially it. And that's something that Jazza talked about, that he was expecting the AI to be like a tool that will increase the capabilities of artists to do incredible things on their own, but what basically has become is just people repeating for the millionth time the Ghibli AI filter or whatever, and literally everything that you see in the internet now is like something like that. Is pure slop. On Twitter, not so much, but on Facebook, it's like whenever you scroll Facebook, it's like the Ghibli art style over and over and over and over and over again. I think there is like a new style of, if you remember these pages, that they are not that much of them anymore, but because they are switching to AI basically. Those pages that stole drawings and comics from artists and then deleted the signatures and covered up the watermarks to put their own watermarks and pretend that they did the content. And people, for some reason, didn't notice that every drawing that they uploaded has a different art style. And those pages have like millions of followers because it's just tons of different art. The thing that happens now is that you have those sites, but what they do is they pick drawings and comics and memes and tweets that people have made, and they do them in Ghibli style or in one of the styles. So you basically have everything that is on the internet. A few days later, you're gonna see it in comic in Ghibli style, basically. And this is another thing that I changed my opinion, but more against AI. And it's there is something that back then I said that I didn't agree with artists actually, and this is when they say the thing about AI art has no soul. And I said basically that I didn't agree and I didn't understand the argument, because what is that? What is saying this drawing has no soul? I mean, a lot of AI drawings are done with the same or more level of skill than real artists. So when you see a drawing and you don't even know if it's made by AI because it's very well done, like if they don't tell you that it's AI, would you say, oh, this, I know it's AI because it doesn't have a soul? Like, there are drawings in which that could happen, but other drawings are going to be like, this is a normal drawing and I could believe that a human has made it. So I don't understand this argument about having a soul or something. But I finally got to understand it, and the reason was kind of weird, and it was because of memes. Because I started to see a lot of these sites that I mentioned that are like doing like memes and tweets that they see on the internet in that format. And I saw a meme. I trying to remember what exactly the meme was. It was a joke, but essentially it's a meme that exists already, that has the chat, the image of this guy that has the square jaw and the chat, the CHAD, the chat, and has like the containment shirt, like when people are crazy. And I don't remember the content of like the what was the joke of the meme. It basically has the chat, I think, in normal, and then the chat in like the shirt or something like that. And I saw that same meme like days later in AI, and I saw it and was like, this is like the soulless thing I have ever seen in my life. Like I compare the two one with the other, and it was like the original has like the chat and it has strengths and it has power, and then is whatever the fuck this is. And at that point, I was looking at that and cringing. I was like, wait, I understand now. I understand completely the this has no soul argument. And now I kinda agree that I mean there are going to be drawings that don't give you that feeling, but there are going to be a lot of drawings that is like this is the soulless fucking thing ever. But the funniest thing is that, I mean, in regards to art, I think in art is kinda where I have changed my opinions less. Like I'm still more or less like neutral to AI art. I still think that, as I said, like if you can find a way to use the AI to do the work yourself and use it as a tool, like you will use Clip Studio Paint, I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's fine if you use it for like memes and whatever. I still think that if you are gonna use it for anything that you will need artistic direction, you have to hire an artist. I have changed my mind a little regarding uses of AI on and the soulless thing, but more or less, I mean, similar to where I was. Where I have changed my mind a lot is with AI in general. Because back then we only had as reference like the art thing, and maybe like a few things were starting to appear like medicine and so, but since then, like everything has gone to shit. Like AI is making everyone absolutely stupid. Like newer generations are using the AI for absolutely everything, but just not just new generations. Like everyone now concedes everything to the AI. Like I think that the main thing that happens a lot is that when everyone has any doubt now, the first thing they do is ask the AI. And even if it's like a question that doesn't have like a information response, so to speak, like they ask the AI who won this debate and things that are like opinions to design their own opinions. And I see people, for example, you see it with YouTubers, that YouTubers have maybe in the past I liked because they did like a lot of investigative analysis, like they research a lot of papers and a lot of information, and I like them because of that. And you see them nowadays, and anytime they have a doubt about anything, is they ask the AI, and whatever the AI says is law. Like you cannot argue with the AI. The AI says this, so the AI is correct, and it's like their entire critical thinking has gone to complete shit because of the AI. And I think that most people is like that nowadays. Like they just ask the AI, and whatever the AI says is truth. And obviously the AI is going to say whatever the creators of the AI want to say. Like they're going to modify the AI to say X or Y, and even if they don't, the data show that the two places where the AI gets, the three places where the AI gets more of the information is Wikipedia and Reddit. They are the two big ones, and we know that, I mean, Wikipedia is basically propaganda, and Reddit is like dominated by 10 mods who are stupid. And then the third place by some distance was Google, which also is basically a propaganda machine. So essentially the AI are, even Grok, which supposedly is like the free speech AI or whatever, like it gets information from Wikipedia and Reddit, so it's the exact same information. So essentially it's all wrong. You cannot trust anything that the AI is saying, but people are like immediately trusting absolutely everything that the AI says. And with new generations, it's even worse. Like I have some friends that are like, for example, I have a teacher, a friend teacher, and she's always ragging about how like the students use AI for absolutely everything. Like she tells them, you have to do this assignment and you do not use AI. I'm going to check that you are using AI. Do not use AI. And then when she grades the papers, they are done with AI. Like they use AI for everything. They don't think. They literally don't think. It's just AI. Everything is the AI. And everything is like going worse because of AI. Like now we don't have RAM, we don't have technology because AI, everything is for the AI. So we can't have nice things now because everything is for the AI. I mean, all of the power in the planet goes to the AI, and the fucking thing must consume like more energy than entire countries to do videos of bears shooting missiles and things like that. Yeah, it's like everyone is becoming stupid because of it. Like I know that the phrase that we are going into idiocracy is like incredibly overused. Like anytime someone sees someone doing something stupid, says, "Oh, we are in idiocracy," but I think this like the first time in which it's like absolutely true. Like we are going towards idiocracy because we are leaving everything to the AI. So people are basically not learning to do things anymore because why would you? The AI is the one doing everything and taking all of the jobs. So yeah, I think we are kind of going to idiocracy with this. The only thing that I have seen that supposedly things are better is in like medicine, in like healthcare, because there are like machines that work better with AI, like locating cancer and things like that, which is what anytime that this discussion comes up, the AI bros are like always with like, no, AI is going to be great because it locates cancer, and it's like it's the only argument that you have, and I am not sure that we want to trade our entire civilization just to be able to locate cancer earlier. Like seriously, I think if you put a balance, like you have the good things of the AI and the bad things of the AI. I think the bad things are like this, and the good things are like this. So I'm not sure that we want to make that trade. Call me crazy, but I think I can tolerate like cancer being found out a little later if we don't go completely to see it as like a civilization. I think that I'm willing to make that trade. Yes. And well, the one thing that my mind hasn't really changed a lot, or if it has been towards, is basically the AI bros. Like the tech bro, AI bro kind of guy. I think they are like one of the, I don't know which words I can say on YouTube, but one of the biggest R words in the history of mankind. Like the lowest IQ possible in a person is designed specifically to become an AI bro. They are like incredibly bad arguments that are based entirely on hate. They just hate artists, and that's it. That's the entire thing. Like I don't see a lot in the things that they say that is not just I hate artists and want them to suffer. They sometimes try to hide it in some more elaborated way, but if you talk to them a little, you eventually find out that yes, they just hate artists and want them to starve. It's essentially it. So this is one of those things that even if I didn't think badly about AI, even if I agreed with these people, I would be like, I don't want to be related to these individuals. Like it's like in politics, like there are a lot of times that I kind of agree on principle with people in something, but then I see them talking, and it's like you're the biggest idiot in the history of mankind, and shut the fuck up. I don't want to be related to you. And I think that's basically the eyebrows, like the fucking words, and that's it. And I don't know what else. Let me check the article that I brought back then a little to see if there is something else at the result. Well, I still think that someone using AI cannot be considered an artist because it's basically the AI doing the things. I think that the discussion if AI art is a little more open. Jazza in his video say that he knows concludes that it's not AI, but I see a lot of people who use like kind of a very fallacious reasoning, which is, oh, the dictionary says that it's a human process. And I'm like, I mean, that's kind of a dictionary fallacy. Like, obviously, I mean, definitions in dictionaries are written by a person who had an opinion. And when they wrote that definition, AI didn't exist. So they weren't thinking at all. They just wrote human probably because they were thinking about if an animal by chance paints something that wouldn't be art because the animal isn't trying to do anything artistic. But obviously they never consider it like a machine or something like that. So I think that is a little more open, and not because I think one way or the other, but more because I wrote this in the article back then, but it's basically because we can't agree on a definition of art. Never have been. Like the entire history of humanity, we never have agreed on what the fuck art is. And if we can't decide for sure what art is, how can you say that the AI art is not art? I personally have changed my perspective, and more than trying to say what is art, I know what isn't art. Like I see something and say this is not art, but it's harder to come with a definition. And if I can came up with a definition, I think it's a little harder to say is the AI thing art or not. But definitely people using it are not artists because they are not doing it. It's the AI doing it. When I wrote a lot about how AI reduces my biggest problem actually back then was that the AI reduced the income of artists, and this is absolutely true. I can tell you that now that some years have passed, like it's not that my income has been reduced because I have been increasing my follower base and I get more commissions over time. But the type of commissions that I get now are very different than what I got 3 years ago, and a lot of the type of commissions that I got asked at that time, I don't get them anymore. Like, for example, the best example is D&D. I used to get a lot of commissions from like people who had their characters for a D&D campaign or whatever, and they wanted a design. And so I did that kind of, I have like a cheap type of drawing that costs like $40, and you have like a half body or something very simple. And I used to do a lot of those, like someone wanted like a cheap drawing of their character, and I did that. Since the AI came up, I literally have never had any other D&D commission or any other TTRPG, and I know it's because of the AI, because if you look at forums for TTRPGs, the art section usually had, or the character presentation section always had like people showing, oh, I hired this artist to do my character. And you had a lot of those. And once the AI appeared, those disappeared and were substituted by AI drawings. Like now everyone is like, oh, this is my character, and it's an AI drawing. So basically the entire market for TTRPG characters has gone extinct because of AI. And there is a lot of examples that I have seen that have been happening, like companies using, more and more companies using AI fighting artists. In China, they fired like a lot of people, but in the West also a lot of companies have been firing people, not just in art, but in a lot of, basically everything is firing people now to substitute it for AI. Good luck if you are ever banned from social media, because now you cannot contact anyone that is a human. Like if you try to contact someone now in social media, you get received by Grok or whatever is the AI at the time. So yeah, basically, big reduction of income from artists. I think that a lot of people who were getting into art probably are not going to be able to do it because of the AI. If you're a big artist, I mean, you're still going to be getting money, but you're going to get less money. I mean, in my case, for example, it's like I probably earn about the same amount of money as 3 years ago, but because I have been increasing the number of people who support me. But if AI didn't exist, I will be making more money than the one I'm doing. So it will be much, much better. And I don't know if there is something else that... yeah, I don't see much else that I could say that my opinions have changed. It's mostly that there are a lot of things that I have been kind of vindicated in, that things that I said have become true. The abros are still stupid. The reduction of income has become very much true. More people, I think, with time has become anti-AI. Like back then, I think it was more divided, but people has become like super tired of it, especially after seeing like everyday AI art everywhere. And also people, I think that also Jazza said is true, is that people cannot trust what is AI or not anymore. Like you see something and the first thing that goes to your mind is this is real, it's AI. And not just for drawings, like photos, videos, everything. Like we have an incredibly low trust society on the internet right now because of AI. And it's probably going to see it into real life. We are probably going to need a new type of job that is people who know how to spot AI for like trials and things like that. And in art, it has become increasingly difficult because people believe that AI is like two art style, like the Ghibli art style and the hyper-realistic art style, but there are a lot of styles. It has become harder. A lot of artists now have to prove that their drawings are theirs, and I think I'm kind of lucky in that my style is a style that AI doesn't use a lot, and also I have been uploading my videos of doing my things since forever, so it's like people who follow me in my Patreon or whatever know that it's the same thing I do always, so I don't have to prove that, oh, this drawing was made by AI or something. But it's super common now that you have to prove that your drawings are real and things like that. So yeah, basically, like the biggest change have been basically that there are a couple of things now that I think that AI is valid for reference and things like that. And yeah, little else. I think that's okay. I now hate AI in a lot of more different ways that I hated it before, but they are not specific to like AI art. So if you see me complaining on social media, it's usually about things that are not really related to art, or if I say someone calling themselves an artist for doing AI, like people like Diversity saying that they are better than real artists because they know how to use AI and things like that. Another thing that reminds me, another thing that Jazza said in his video, throwing shade at his own brother when he picks up basically the Mononoke drawing that the AI for Diversity made, and he talks about how like I don't completely agree with him because he goes into a rant about sexualization of women and things like that, but he basically talks about how the drawing that they have made like has nothing to do with Mononoke. It's like Mononoke is like the AI knows how Mononoke looks, knows how to do that design because there is a guy called Miyazaki who time ago drew like has knowledge about design and did a design that is compelling and people remember. And he was the one who had the knowledge about art and made that design to that works. So the AI is not doing like a cool Mononoke design. The AI is copying a design that is already well made by someone who knows about art, and then the AI changes the character, and it doesn't really have much to do with Mononoke. Like the attitude that she has and the expression that she has is one that probably Mononoke will never make. and is in like an hyper-realistic style that is like, if you like more realistic than stylized, then you will say maybe I like this one better, but it's not what Mononoke is. And I think that's an issue with a lot of these AI bros and a lot of the artists who use AI, is that they don't have the knowledge to know that they don't know. And that's a phrase that I have thought about lately that I think is very on point. That you don't know that you don't know what you don't know. Whenever Sadiversity talks about when he does like a process of his videos of telling the AI things, he's always like, only someone with my knowledge of art will know that you have to tell the AI to do this. And then he proceeds to say something that is like, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. And that's the issue, that you're trying to do things asking the AI, and nor you nor the AI have a knowledge of how these things are well done. So you're going to get a picture that superficially is going to look like, oh, it's realistic, it's cool, but it doesn't really work for whatever you are trying to express or do. And if it does, it's because it's copying someone who already did that because they knew how to do it, but you have no idea. It's kind of the same that I mentioned before about how a lot of artists who only do illustrations one day I'm going to do a comic, and they think that it's going to be easy, it's just doing the same but in panels, and then they proceed to do absolutely fucking shit of comics because they have no understanding of how comic composition, how directions, how dynamics, how the flow of the action is. They have no idea about how this called this in English. Well, the space between panels, it has a name, but I don't know how to say it in English. But the space between the panels dictates the time that passes between one panel and the other, and that can be controlled by several things. That there's a lot of things in doing comic that they have no idea, so the comics that they do are usually fucking shit. Like maybe the drawings are very realistic or whatever, but they're fucking shit. And I think it's the same for the people. Like they think that they're doing something great because superficially it's like, oh, the AI has done something cool, but in reality it's like you have no idea. And I think that's why a lot of people rebelled when the Ghibli style AI came in, because they don't know it, because it's kind of instinctual, like without thinking about it or without knowing why they have rejection, because they are seeing something that is similar to Ghibli, which is something that is well done and expresses a number of things, but the AI is not really understanding how to do any of that, and the person using the AI is also not understanding how they have to do any of that. So the result is something that is basically soulless. Yes, that's like, I know I understand the argument of the soulless thing, and I think that's more or less it. Those I don't know, TLDR, I am more or less the same regarding the uses that you can do, but there's a few more things that I think are okay, like references and ideas, maybe streamlining some process, but no one is, or almost no one is doing that, so we are going all to shit. And AI in general is like going to be the fucking bane of mankind, and I don't think that the society is going to go to shit because it's going to become Skynet, self-conscious, and it's going to destroy humanity, but it's going to destroy humanity by the mere fact of the things that it's already doing right now, and that's about it. So AI in general is bad. Even if my opinion on AI art is still kind of neutral, I think that AI in general is very, very bad. That's the conclusion. AI bad.